Hello, fellow fans. It's your friendly actor Amos Crawley, and I've got some electrifying news.
You've asked for it, and now the Goosebumps Crew podcast wants to deliver.
And you're in for a scare, because the Goosebumps Crew is proud to announce one weekend at Horrorland.
The biggest Goosebumps convention ever.
But here's the thing, we can't do it alone. We need your support to bring this dream of ours to life.
Calling on all passionate fans to join forces and donate on Kickstarter. With your contributions, we will transform this convention into a hauntingly unforgettable experience.
Our special guests, panels, and activities for fans of all ages will immerse you in an exciting and spooky atmosphere, sure to get you into the spirit of things.
Including some of the guests who've appeared on the Goosebumps Crew podcast.
Together, we'll conjure an atmosphere that will give you goosebumps.
By making a donation, you become an essential part of making this extraordinary event a reality.
And as a token of our appreciation, the Goosebumps Crew has prepared some extraordinary gifts and rewards exclusively for our backers.
So, mark your calendars and join us on this frightful journey. Head over to our Kickstarter page, and let's make one weekend in Horrorland the ghoulish event of a lifetime. Thank you for your support, my fellow faithfuls.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Average Intelligence Podcast. Obligatory audio check, and I just realized my camera is askew. That's the kind of day it's been, unfortunately. But welcome to the podcast. I know I look disheveled. This is going to be a quick one. This is simply a preview and to let everyone know that I may be joined by a co-host. I don't know yet, but I will be doing a live stream / adding commentary because obviously we don't want to be guilty of piracy here for the upcoming presidential debate between the CNN presidential debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden coming this Thursday. So just a little preview. But before we get into that, I want to remind everyone that the Kickstarter for One Weekend at Horrorland, the convention being put on by the Goosebumps Crew podcast, is still active. It's still open. You saw one of the teaser videos of there featuring actor Amos Crawley, who is committed to the event if they are funded. So he and many other guests, as you saw in the video, and we'll play it at the end too, in case you missed it on the live stream. So hang in there till the end. Or if you're not watching the live stream, you can just rewind to the start of the video if somehow you missed it. But anyway, now we will get on to the debate, which this will be the third time, I believe. Yes, that would be the third time that we will watch Joe Biden and Donald Trump debate one another. And as entertaining as this is going to be, I don't think I'm alone. Maybe I am. I don't particularly care. I'm good at annoying both sides of the political aisle. But speaking of annoyances, this should also be streaming on TikTok. However, TikTok is being stupid after, thanks to my cohort on Toon Talk 2.0, Virus Fox, making a joke about getting naked for money. My live privileges were suspended for a week, but it has now been 3 weeks. And every time I try to go live, it tells me that my access has been blocked. So I'm going to have a word with them. The weird thing is, I can go live on my phone, but I tried to see what it looks like, and it would look really, really fugly. So, for some reason, I cannot use the desktop studio, but we will try to address this issue as soon as possible for all of our podcasts that we would like to live stream on TikTok, because live streaming on TikTok it's weird. But like I said, this will be the third time that Trump and Biden will debate one another, and to no one's surprise, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. does not qualify, even though apparently he did, based on the initial standards that were put out by CNN. And I cannot confirm or deny this, but I understand that both of those candidates were told by CNN that RFK Jr. would not be there. I find it quite funny that so many people, particularly on the left, are talking about the death of democracy. This is nothing new. Third-party candidates have been snubbed, and basically banned ever since Ross Perot. They will not let a third party candidate on that stage, even one who is polling high. And the way those polls are done are super biased. Like they've basically made it impossible to get rid of the two-faced uniparty, with the exception possibly of Donald Trump. But even Donald Trump doesn't want RFK on that stage because, I'm sorry, I just got a text message that threw me off. Even Donald Trump doesn't want to debate RFK Jr. because he will be made to answer for various things he's said and done that, for some reason, I don't know if it's how they're wording it, them being the Democrats, but because if we're being completely honest, which I'm a fan of, I know it's not popular now, but if we're being completely honest, Donald Trump did do some stuff. Now, there's a caveat to that statement before you attack me in the comments. Um, Fairly recently, I'm not sure what the date of the video. I assume it's recent though because it's dealing with the New York hush money case, so it has to be fairly recent. Where Andrew Cuomo was on Real Time with Bill Maher, and even he said, I was shocked when I saw this. Right, even he said that that case should have never been brought to trial, and I was like, if the former Democratic governor of New York, or was he the mayor? Dang it, now I have to look that up because I don't want to sound stupid. I want to say he was the mayor. Come on. Andrew Cuomo. I want to say he was the mayor of New York City. Oh no, governor of New York until 2021. I was right and wrong at the same time. I'm good at that too. So yes, former Democrat governor of New York even acknowledges that that case should never have been gone to trial because there was in fact, well, no felony crime, probably a misdemeanor. But I still maintain that that may have been. You can make the case that that was a clerical error in the sense is that nobody really knew how to classify that kind of reimbursement. And since Michael Cohen was in fact a lawyer, but this is why you pay good money for a good accountant. Now, there are some other things, such as testimony about people in the Trump organization writing on papers with Trump organization letterhead about how to hide the transactions. It's really hard to prove motive in that case because corporations do certain things all the time to quote unquote hide things. Um, if you dig deep enough, you can find it, but things that they don't want known to the general public, I suppose. Which that's a whole nother conversation about transparency and in some cases consumer protections, right? But my main point, RFK will not be at this debate, and that is a shame. Well, it's not a shame for Trump and Biden because, frankly, he would eviscerate both of them. And that's why he's not going to be there. So I was hopeful but not surprised when I learned that he will not be there. Now, if RFK is smart, and I know he is, so I hope what he does is while this debate is going on, if he adds his own commentary to it. I want to say it was 2016, might have been 2012. And I want to say it was 2016. The third party candidate, oh no, I think it was 2012. Anyway, one of those elections, the third party presidential candidates had their own debate, and I want to say it was on C-SPAN, and it was actually quite good. It was a shame more people didn't watch it because, frankly, that's how a debate should be. But some other things that make this debate unique is there will be no audience. Yeah, so that it's going to be odd. Um, it's going to be very odd because Trump likes to play to a crowd, right? And Biden. Here, okay, so I'm going to lay out how this debate is probably. I'm going to lay out how the debate should go, but then I'm going to lay out how the debate's probably going to go based on what I know about both of these candidates. So how the debate should go is it should be a clear victory for Trump if Trump can control his worst impulses, it'll be a clear victory for Trump. Because Biden, much like his last State of the Union, will probably start off fairly strong because they're going to inject him with, whatever they injected him with the last time because he was on it for the first while, but then you saw it slowly start to wear off, right? I don't know, maybe 8 cups of coffee or actual Adderall or amphetamine. I don't know, but he was on it at the first bid. You have to admit that in his State of the Union. I imagine the debate will go the same way. This is going to be a 90-minute debate. I don't think he's going to last 90 minutes. I think you might get a solid 30 to 45 out of him, maybe an hour. But that last half hour is going to be a train wreck for the Biden camp. And again, I cannot speak to the validity of this, but I had read that one of the problems the Biden campaign had with the terms of this debate was that he would be required to stand for 90 minutes. If that's true, I'm not surprised. Like I said, I cannot speak to the validity of that, considering I don't have. Well, I mean, it's a source that I believe, but I don't know. I don't have like a credible source that I could say, look, this publication said this. Sorry for the yawn. It's been a long day. And I'm not going to try to keep you guys here too long tonight. This is, like I said, a preview for the live stream I'm going to do of the debate on Thursday. Hopefully I have my old co-host back. That would be tremendous. But that will replace next week's episode. So you're going to get your episode of the Average Intelligence podcast early. And feel free to join the conversation because that's what makes it fun. I will try to keep my commentary brief, but I will be obviously injecting and inserting into the debate. We've done 2 debate episodes, one of which I did pause a few times, and apparently people didn't like that, but I prefer that to shouting. Sorry. I prefer that to just shouting over what's going on the debate. Sorry, not sorry. Yeah, I know, right? So you texted me literally right as I was setting up to go live, so I don't. Yeah, I didn't respond to you, so I apologize. I was literally about to push go. But yeah, hopefully Sosa will be there watching on Thursday. But so anyway, so I predict if Trump, well, I don't predict. This is how the debate should go. Like I said, Trump should be the clear winner because all Trump has to do, and keep in mind, Trump never does what he should do, right? He can't help himself. I don't know why. It's like he has an obsession with his foot in his mouth. I don't understand why he does this, but he does. What all Trump needs to do is get on stage and look at Joe Biden and be like, Joe, I know you're not going to like this, but you're a bad president. Just look at the last 4 years. Terrible president. Terrible from day one. All of your claims, all the good things you did were bringing back policies that I put in, which is true, actually. That is actually a true statement, is that every good thing that has happened under the Biden administration has just been them re-implementing a Trump-era policy. It's true. Like, back it up. You know why gas prices went down and still not even close to Trump prices, but do you know why gas prices did go down? Because Joe Biden authorized drilling. After spending 2 years saying, we're not gonna drill! No more! We're gonna just blow on things and hope they go. And anyway, he allowed them to drill oil. Day one of his presidency, he canceled the Keystone XL pipeline. And like everyone, including this channel, said would happen, gas prices went up. You can't make this crap up. And now Joe is still trying to gaslight, which we also pointed out. I pointed out. Joe Biden is trying to gaslight the American people into thinking that the crisis at the southern border is Trump's fault. I broke down I don't remember the numbers offhand, but I did break those numbers down. So if you go back, I think it was a solo special actually, or maybe it was an episode of Average Intelligence News. I think I did a solo special. Yes, it was a solo special. I believe the title was something to the effect of like Biden gaslighting the American people. The thumbnail is Biden and there's like matches and a gas can. It's fairly recent, like certainly within the last 6 months, probably in the last 3 months or so. But it is on there. You can go watch it. Yeah, and they're still trying to gaslight people. I mean, I wish I could say nobody's falling for it. A lot of people on the far left are falling for it, but frankly, they'll believe anything. I saw another really, really entertaining TikTok video of the interviewer telling people, like, attributing quotes to, like, Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, Barack Obama, but they were all Trump quotes, and everybody was like, yeah, I agree with that. Which, I mean, the man on the street interviews take them with a grain of salt anyway, right? Because they're heavily edited. But those I actually take a little bit more because people just believe. Like there was a video a long time ago where somebody was like, "What do what's your opinion of what's going on in Wakanda?" And people were like, "Well, I think it's wrong." you know, it's like they should be helping those people. And in case you've been living under a rock, Wakanda is the fictional African nation from the Black Panther franchise of the MCU or Marvel Comics fame. It's not a real place. Uh, but unfortunately, Trump has a terrible habit of being his own worst enemy. And if they could just curb that, and Trump is at a slight disadvantage here because he does not have the ability to interject when Joe Biden is talking. Now, he could easily remedy this problem. If he's allowed to have a pen, he can just address things when it's his turn. He probably won't, but he could, theoretically. But like I said, all Trump really has to do is sit back and watch. That's really all he has to do. He won't do it, but that's all he has to do. It'll still be entertaining. It'll still be quite funny. Unfortunately, Trump doesn't have anybody to play to. And we all know the moderators are going to be from CNN. So, I mean, they already hate Trump. So I think I made fun of this too, is that Chris Wallace guy where I think at one point I'd said, remember that time where Trump debated Joe Biden and Chris Wallace at the same time? Because it was true. I mean, that was back in 2016, but it was true because it was literally like, Chris Wallace was like, Mr. President, or Mr. Trump, sorry, because neither one was president at that time. He was like, Mr. Trump, what do you think can be done to bring peace to the Middle East in 3 months? And then he'd turn to Joe Biden and effectively be like, I understand you like kittens. What is your favorite kind of cat? And Joe Biden responded, vanilla! I'm clearly biased, but actually, fun fact about me, the reason there's a few reasons why I'm disappointed that RFK is not going to be in this debate, but primarily is because as of right now, I'm probably going to be voting for RFK Jr. if I had to guess. Now, again, there's no way in hell I'm voting for Biden. So I'm just throwing my bias out there right now. There's no way in hell I'm voting for Biden. Not because he's a Democrat, is because it's Joe Biden. And he is literally falling asleep at the wheel and shitting his pants. I don't know if he's literally shitting his pants, but I saw that video. I think he shit his pants. Which technically he shit his diaper because come on. I'm not saying Joe Biden wears diapers, but if it came out, I wouldn't be surprised. That's all I'm saying. Uh, sorry, I know it's lame to laugh at your own jokes, but the whole like, what's your favorite breed of cat? It's vanilla. Just it made me chuckle. And it's also no secret that I'm a Trump fan, but I'm not on the MAGA train. I have some issues with them, especially since you be quiet. I don't know why my tablet's making all that noise. As particularly a lot of the court cases. Now, while we're on the subject, because I did want to address this, the court cases, right? Might as well go through them all. The Trump University civil case, totally legit. They should pay out. They're going to pay out. The E. Jean Carroll case, not even going to touch on the subject matter, but I think that was crap, particularly the second one, the defamation case. That's, I mean, I if that had been anybody else, I don't even think it would have been brought up, much less, gone the way it did. And then you've got what's the other cases? You've got the Georgia case, which I think it depends on if some of the things that the Trump campaign is accused of doing, they actually did, and they aren't just accusations, which when I read the affidavit, I had to, and I did an episode on that, by the way, too. I think that was another solo special. I like to nerd out on things. I don't care if you're mad. I didn't go line by line on that one because it's a lot of repetitive language. But I did say, keep in mind that these are all accusations, as the affidavit does not list out the full context of what happened or what was even alleged to have happened. The thing of it is, though, is if people in the Trump campaign actually harass that poll worker, that's no bueno. But again, here's the problem. The reason that case is a RICO case is because they need to connect everything to Trump. And unfortunately, the way the Georgia statute regarding RICO reads technically a political campaign can be guilty of it. There is nothing in that affidavit that could be tied directly to Donald Trump, with the exception, possibly, of the conspiracy of the fake electors, which, again, I acknowledge, no bueno. Don't like it. Now, I also think, see, and this is where you get into legal semantics and how a jury can be swayed. So, the Trump defense, if it comes to this, the Trump defense is probably going to make the case that, and this is the best part of this. So it doesn't matter if there was actually voter fraud or not for the argument I'm about to list out. Probably wouldn't work, but it would be, it's about all they can say, really, if everything is proven to be true. Is that Donald Trump and his team believed that the election had been stolen, and that they felt this was the only recourse for them to, quote, save the United States. And there are plenty of people who buy into that and believe it. I'm not one of those people. My whole thing, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, what the Trump campaign should have done when Joe Biden won that, and believe you me, before anybody attacks me in the comments, I believe there was a ton of fuckery, just not in the way that most people are talking about. And I'm surprised people have been making that case, right? I do think that election was stolen, but not in the way, like, not in terms of like votes being thrown into the river or something. But although I love how everybody's defense is, well, the courts threw it out. Well, if the system is corrupt and doesn't want Trump in there, who do you think's going to? Of course, they're going to throw it out. So it becomes a double-edged sword, which is why, I mean, not a double-edged sword. It becomes, a self-fulfilling prophecy, which is why I don't like these arguments, because if the system needs to be corrupt for your argument to make sense, then that means the system is corrupt. And for your argument to make sense, and that's not good for anybody. I would rather the system not be corrupt, or at least be less corrupt, because let's be real, we're talking about human beings. But it's pretty obvious to me that, and I'm not one of those people that thinks that COVID was a Democrat conspiracy. I think they jumped on an opportunity and used it to their advantage. Hardcore. And the problem is that the Constitution calls for the states to hold elections as they see fit. I know particularly in Pennsylvania, there was some fuckery going on there. Based on my understanding, I could be wrong. If anybody presents me evidence to the contrary, I will change my tune. But from my understanding is a lot of rules got changed in the 11th hour, speaking electionally, not literally the 11th hour. It's a figure of speech. And basically benefited the Democratic voter base, or at least the people that could be motivated to vote Democrat. Ballot harvesting should be illegal. I'm just going to say it. Ballot harvesting should be illegal. But if it's legal, so going back to what I was saying about the Trump campaign, their first thing should have been, oh, Joe Biden's the winner. Okay, we're going to start working on, instead of trying to overturn or backpedal the election, I shouldn't say overturn. Instead of trying to backpedal the election and say, we won. No, we really won. At first you can do that, but once the courts threw it out, you don't have anything to do. Like, I can't imagine their scam. Although it is worth noting, shout out to Eric. He was the one who was talking about the procedure and how it was written in the Constitution. And then shortly after, everybody was saying, like, oh, they didn't have any legal standing to do that. Well, then they went back and clarified it. And Eric pointed that out to me. And even I was like, oh, well, that does change some things now, doesn't it? But long story short, not a fan of what went down in Georgia, if it is in fact true. However, you cannot deny, like, the irony, if it weren't such a big deal, it would be funny. It's still funny. It would be funnier. The fact that the Georgia Attorney General in charge of that case and the lead prosecutor is basically guilty of RICO. Like, for those of you who don't know, Fani Willis, the Georgia DA, hired her. Yeah, it was her boyfriend. Like, he was married when they got together, but he got hired to be part of her legal team, and he was being paid a lot of money. His firm was being paid a lot of money. Wink, wink, hint, hint. And then they were going on vacations together, and he paid her back in cash. Yeah, no paper trail whatsoever. And she says that's not a problem. Well, you know where it is a problem? When you're applying for a mortgage or any kind of loan. I also don't think the IRS would accept it's just cash and cash is fungible as a defense of how you got all this money. So that's all I'm saying. I don't buy it for a second. I don't buy that for a second at all. So Trump and his campaign are being charged with RICO by a woman and legal team who, at least part of them, were guilty of RICO. So do with that as you will. And then there's the classified documents case, which, and my tune got changed on this fairly recently. I said that this is the case that had the most standing. That is until Joe Biden got caught with classified documents. And the DOJ said they weren't going to pursue charges because Biden was a well-meaning, senile old man. And then later that day, Joe Biden holds a press conference to show, like, this is the hubris of the left, right? You get off the hook because they said, oh, his memory. Same day, has a press conference to prove that his memory's fine. And proceeds to have memory issues in said press conference. I watched it live. I watched it happen. Again, if it weren't so sad, it would have been funny. It was still funny. I mean, like, you can't make this shit up. And I'm not even going to go into the thing about the rosary. If you know, you know, right? Literally calls a press conference to show how mentally sharp he is and gets two world leaders mixed up. And their countries, by the way. You can't make this a great fiction writer could not write a farce like this, which then leads us to the Stormy Daniels case, which that's got to be the dumbest one of all, if we're being honest here. Actually, no, I take that back. The dumbest one is the business filing the civil case. That was the dumbest one of all. But both of those cases have something in common, is that New Yorkers, including Mr. Wonderful, said this, and I recently saw a video where Judge Judy basically was like, I would have much rather, as a resident of New York, instead of them spending $5-10 million on this case, which happens every day, I would have rather had them, locking up murderers, rapists, and thieves. I'm like, Judge Judy, everybody. So at the very least, these Trump cases are even. See, here's the thing, and this is the frustrating thing about Trump, right? Because he gave his enemies ammunition. That's the frustrating thing. Because all of these cases have a basis at the very least. Are they politically motivated? Absolutely. I have yet to be convinced otherwise. That the only reason most of these cases even saw the light of day. Again, classified documents maybe, but I saw a former intelligence officer on the Joe Rogan Experience talk about how, like, he doesn't know anybody higher up at the FBI, but he knows a lot of the, the special agents, like down in the, like, on the ground guys. And he said, yeah, they were just doing their job. However, when you consider the Joe Biden thing, is yes, Trump was holding on to documents that he shouldn't have. The raid and the presence on the ground may or may not have been appropriate. I don't know. I'm not in the intelligence community. This guy seemed to indicate that it was a little excessive. And I think this was before the Biden documents leaked because it was an older clip. So pardon me, I don't recall the specifics, but I believe this was before the Biden classified documents episode. Which, again, Trump actually has a defense here. Anything that's brought up, and I've said this before, and I cannot believe that not more people are talking about it, but I'm surprised more people aren't talking about it. By the way, welcome everybody that just joined the live stream. If you have any comments, questions, opinions on what you think you will see in this upcoming debate, throw them in the comments. I'd love to make this conversation, not just me talking at a camera the whole time, but we'll give the people what they want, right? Is that everything that Trump did or is accused of having done, the left has done it. the same, if not worse, right? So let's talk about classified documents. There's the obvious ones. Hillary Clinton. Like, I mean, that's blatant. And they didn't bring charges against her. As if that weren't bad enough. Then you've got Joe Biden's classified documents. And that's actually worse. Because more documents. Well, I don't think more documents. Okay, so I'll take that back. I'm not going to, because I can't verify that. But documents back from when he was a senator, which he had no right to hang on to those. Documents from when he was vice president. Classified documents. Again, no right to have those. On tape, acknowledging that he is showing them to people who do not have security clearance. His ghostwriter. Also, multiple places, not just in dilapidated boxes in his home, but also in the Biden Foundation and one other building that I cannot, for the life of me, remember. So, multiple documents for multiple tenures in government in multiple places. At least all of Trump's shit was from when he was president, and it was at Mar-a-Lago, allegedly locked up, or not at the beginning. So, but at least it was in one place, right? And I'm not saying it's good. And he and people under him absolutely lied according to the information that I have read and been given. So, like, it's not good. But if we're going to, indict Trump, then we need to indict Biden as well. Except they already said they weren't going to. So by virtue of that logic, now and again, it's also important because I read this when I went through the classified documents case. None of the charges have a minimum sentence in regards to the classified documents case. So it's very unlikely that Trump will serve jail time for that one, if it even goes. There's so many things that could happen between now and then. So that leads us back to the New York cases. The civil one has no, I was shocked at that verdict because there's literally no victim. And I'm not even going to call it a crime because the allegations are that Trump and the Trump organization inflated the value of their properties and assets in order to get favorable terms on loans. But here's the problem with that. The bank makes that decision as to whether they're going to, have these things appraised as collateral. There's no victim. The banks signed off on all that. Oh, and by the way, they all got repaid too. So there is no problem. And much like the business filing criminal case in New York, again, there's no victim. Who's the victim? Allegedly, it's because Trump was trying to cover up something that could have influenced the election. Well, then sue Twitter because they quashed the Hunter Biden laptop case that the New York Post, I believe, posted on Twitter, and they removed them, banned their account, and told them they couldn't post it. And you had multiple people lying under oath in all sorts of regards to the Biden family. Which that's another thing. It'll be very interesting to see how well, it won't be interesting because I know how it's going to go. The Hunter Biden sentencing, his sentence is going to get commuted. He's not going to get a pardon, but his sentence will be commuted. Bet money on it. So going back to the debate before we wrap up here, because we've been going at this for about a half an hour. So Trump is going to put his foot in his mouth when all he really needs to do is talk about his record and mostly talk about Biden's record, because all Trump has to do is get up there and say, listen, under me, you had lower gas prices, higher wages, better economy, cheaper groceries. Everyone was better off, and it's true. It's an objective fact economically. Now, it's not like Trump can flip a switch and stop it overnight, but the economy can get better fairly quickly if they stop spending so much goddamn money on stupid shit and shit in general. The immigration process will get better under Trump. That will happen pretty quick. And as someone, I'm not anti-immigration. I'm not anti-immigration at all. But you cannot deny there is a problem. You can't deny it's a problem. If you have eyes, you cannot deny that it's a problem. We've seen the numbers. Talked about those too on a previous episode. These are raw, hard numbers. You cannot argue the point without looking like a complete moron who thinks 1 and 1 is 7,000. Like, there is zero denying it. It is a problem, and we all know. Well, actually, I don't know, because it's not like they're going to get voters instantly unless there is, in fact, voter fraud, which, depending on your state, because apparently showing ID is racist. I don't understand how, but, it makes sense to some people. But yeah, so basically, that's how it should go. How it will go, Trump will put his foot in his mouth repeatedly and say things that do not help him. He'll talk too much about the wrong things. He'll talk about how 2020 was stolen. He won't let that horse die. But fortunately for him, Biden is just going to get up there and talk. This is going to be Biden. It's like, oh, one of us is a convicted felon, and the other one likes ice cream. Chocolate. And sniffing kids. What will be fantastic is if Biden somehow trips over thin air. That will be not to hurt himself, just to stumble a bit over nothing. Or we might get to see Roomba Biden. That'll be good. But like I said, Trump is going to put his foot in his mouth in a horrible way, and the moderators aren't going to help. It's probably a blessing in disguise that the mics will be cut when it's not their turn, honestly. I do think his is going to get cut, though, like a lot, because he's going to keep going and run out of time. But like I said, I predict at about the 45-minute mark, you'll start seeing Joe Biden start to fall asleep and droop. He'll start out strong. I'm fully confident on that. He'll start out nice and strong, but he'll taper off at about the 45-minute mark. And then towards the end of the debate, he'll be just one step away from falling asleep. Yeah, so if nobody wants to add anything more to the conversation, that is our predictions. Remember, we will be live streaming the debate with my additional commentary on Thursday night. So check that out. And we will give you one more look real quick at the One Weekend in Horrorland promo. Like I said, first link in the description. Visit their Kickstarter, help them get this event off the ground, and check out all the cool guests they're going to have. But like I said, we will see you guys on Thursday, and that'll be your episode for that week of the Average Intelligence Podcast. Hopefully you enjoyed the show, and we will see you guys next time.
Hello, fellow fans. It's your friendly actor Amos Crawley, and I've got some electrifying news.
You've asked for it, and now the Goosebumps Crew podcast wants to deliver.
And you're in for a scare, because the Goosebumps Crew is proud to announce One Weekend at Horrorland.
The biggest Goosebumps convention ever.
But here's the thing, we can't do it alone. We need your support to bring this dream of ours to life.
Calling on all passionate fans to join forces and donate on Kickstarter. With your contributions, we will transform this convention into a hauntingly unforgettable experience.
Our special guests, panels, and activities for fans of all ages will immerse you in an exciting and spooky atmosphere, sure to get you into the spirit of things.
Including some of the guests who've appeared on the Goosebumps Crew podcast.
Together, we'll conjure an atmosphere that will give you goosebumps.
By making a donation, you become an essential part of making this extraordinary event a reality.
And as a token of our appreciation, the Goosebumps Crew has prepared some extraordinary gifts and rewards exclusively for our backers.
So, mark your calendars and join us on this frightful journey. Head over to our Kickstarter page, and let's make One Weekend in Horrorland the ghoulish event of a lifetime. Thank you for your support.